Today on the podcast, our producer, Stephen Andrews. Stephen is a lifelong entrepreneur and storyteller. From lemonade stands, mowing lawns, and recording home videos to winning money from his university to help his first business, he has always had the will to follow his passion. Minus 2 stints of time in the corporate realm, which I want to talk about.
Also known as prison.
Also known as people
corporate prison. Yeah.
He has always tried to do his own thing. He now runs the media agency Spotted Dog Media out of the vibrant greater Denver area with the purpose of helping small and medium-sized businesses of the area fight back against the large corporations that are moving into the area through content creation. Through content creation on the end of your bio.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
I think you're going to be like episode 50.
49.
Right? Oh, you'll be 49.
Episode 49.
Awesome.
We're approaching the 1 year. We've already been shooting for over a year.
Yeah, we've been shooting for a year.
But we're approaching the 1 year mark of actual episodes being put out.
Yeah, so what? Number 44 went up today.
44 went up today. 45 next week. So on and so forth.
Somebody asked me if we were going to do seasons, and I was like, there's really no seasons to be had. Plus, I want to see that number to continue to go up.
Yeah. I mean, by this time, around this time next year, we'll be hitting episode 100.
Yay!
I just saw your brain explode a little bit.
Yeah, I was like, all right. So, Steve and I have been working together for about a year now.
About a year now.
Okay. So, back into host mode. What was your first job?
My first job was working at a video store.
It's a Blockbuster.
It wasn't Blockbuster. It was Suncoast.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they had them up here.
No, we don't have any Suncoast.
So it was just a video store. You'd come in and buy DVDs. Mm-hmm. Novel concept. If you were going to buy a movie, you got a physical object, took it home and put it in a VCR or a DVD player.
Wow. They still have Redbox where you can
They
go
do
get
still
the
have,
discs.
they do still have Redbox, but most everybody streams everything now.
Yeah, I saw on my grandmother-in-law's table yesterday. We went to have dinner with her. Mm-hmm. Like a Netflix envelope, and I was like, "Do they still send movies?"
I think they do. I don't think they do a lot of it.
I had no idea,
but
that was still a thing.
Yep.
We used to get the audio tapes. Like in the mail.
Oh, yeah.
We used to do that. Was at like the BMG or whatever, and they would send you all the audio tapes, and it was like Christmas.
Look at this.
So tell us about your corporate stints.
Oh man. Okay. So the first corporate stint. Oh wait, is it 3?
Was there 3? Are you lying to me?
I'd really call it 2.
2.5.
2.5. We'll go 2.5 because one was like 6 months. So I had like a bunch of little like odd jobs, like Suncoast and just working as a waiter and that sort of fun thing. But my first job out of college was being a financial advisor. So this was the half. And I knew it wasn't going to last. This is a true story. So I come on, financial advisor. They're all sales guys, real hyped up on sales, making money, very money driven, which is fine. I don't fit into that culture. And so I got the job. They wanted a bachelor's degree. I didn't have my bachelor's degree, so I felt all awesome for defeating requirements that don't apply to me. And went out to lunch with my sales manager because that was just how they indoctrinated people, I guess. Like, hey, like, let's go out, let's have lunch, get to know each other, all that sort of fun thing. So we got to eat lunch, and he asked me, so what's the proudest thing you've done? And a year before that, I had been running my first business, which was an automotive shop, and we did events as well. And we did a massive event. I made $30,000 in a day, and then donated $10,000 of that to a children's hospital. So like being 23 years old and donating $10,000 to a children's hospital, definitely life high point at that point. And I asked him just to flip it, like get to know you a little bit. It's like, hey, so what's yours? He sits back, thinks, and he goes, probably joining the country club that I joined. And I audibly laughed at him. And I was
Point of your
like,
life.
yeah, I was like, oh. And then in my brain, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to last here.
This is not gonna fly.
This is done. So that one ended about 6 months later. I got my investment license, my Series 6 and 7 and 66 and another one, and was selling insurance and investments. But I come from a cop and military family.
Yeah.
To sell those things, you have to know people with disposable income. Cops and military tend to not have a whole lot of disposable income.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a great fit for me anyways. Second stint was working at a broker-dealer again. I was inputting, I was doing data transfer, essentially, just moving people's money around. And that, I don't think I made it to a year.
I can't imagine you're in a cubicle doing that.
I think I made that like 9 months. I think I was about to make a year, and I was like, I gotta go.
I can't be stuck here.
I can't do this. And that one was great. I had really cool people around me. There's one dude that I worked with. His name was Rufus. He came from Nigeria, I think. So he had a real thick accent. But all the time you just hear him uttering under his breath, "Oh, that's not good." Oh, that's not good. You all right, Rufus?
Oh my gosh, that's
so that
crazy.
one lasted about a year, and then the last one I was a project manager for a financial company for 2 years. I made 2 years on that
Yay!
one, and then left it to come up here to work for a startup. That's when I moved to Colorado.
Yep. So then my next question is, how did you end up here in Denver?
So
You're like, you just know what I'm going to ask you. I've been doing
I
this
knew
for
the
so
first
long.
question.
Well,
I didn't
hope
know where
so.
you'd go elsewhere. So I came up
Keep you on your
to
toes.
I came up to take the director position at a startup for marketing. It's what I do. It's what I've always done. It's social media, communication, like that's my jam. Moved up here to be the director for marketing for a company called, and I don't know if I should have mentioned their name, but
You can always cut that out.
I can always cut that out.
You have carte blanche on the.
I do.
cuts.
I have control. So moved up here for that, and the owner did what a lot of people do, is conflate sales and marketing. So it became okay, we're going to scrape names and emails using Salesforce and LinkedIn. You're going to send them a sales letter. We're going to try and get 30 C-level employees of various companies to come to a dinner. And then we're going to turn around and we're going to shop that list of employees to sponsors to come and talk at this dinner. Just great. It's a thing that happens all the time. Good, great, and grand. Problem is, once he brought me on, and then it wasn't marketing, it was sales. He wanted to double the production that he was doing previously. And yeah, I should probably take his name out. And just started lying to the company. He'd just make up a list of names and start shopping that around. So, and
He
then
was lying to
he
the
was
people.
straight lying to the people he was charging $10,000 a pop to come to.
Oh, wow.
And then what happened then? I lost my train of thought. So
Sorry.
3 months later, he went out of business because people were like, WTF. None of the people that you told us were going to be there, because I really wanted to talk to the CMO of Chipotle, weren't there. The heck, we want our money back. So, and by that point, he had actually he was from the UK, so he went back to the UK and was wanting me to do everything here, and then it went under, and then I was like, oh, that's great. I spent my savings to move up here.
Here I am in Denver.
In Denver 3 months later.
So you started Spotted Dog Media.
So I started Spotted Dog Media after that.
Dog Media.
Just named after my girlfriend's dog, Sorcha.
Who is adorable.
She is an adorable puppy.
And she's on the website, guys, if you want to go see the puppies.
She is. Spotted Dog Media. SpottedDogDigital.com. Somebody has Spotted Dog Media and there's just sitting on it. If you're listening, I want it.
Can I have it, please?
Yes. There's nothing on it.
So your focus is photos, video production, and podcasts.
Yes.
Why podcasts?
Podcasts for
We're going
a
to talk about
couple of...
podcasts on this podcast because I think that's interesting to most people. It's interesting to me because
It's so meta.
you're the first person who's ever talked to, like, about a podcast to me. So
Oh.
now here we are. So
Here we are, a year later. Well, so a few reasons why podcasts, and a few reasons why I like to turn on the cameras. One, podcasts are quickly becoming the most consumed media on the internet. Video is still the most consumed. So if we can combine the two,
That's why we do both.
why not? It works better, and we get more out of it. It
More content.
goes to more channels, so we get everything for our LinkedIn, our Twitter, Facebook, TikTok if you want to do it.
I don't know what TikTok is.
More
We'll
on
get there.
More on TikTok later.
Do I have to sing on TikTok?
You don't.
I mean, I could, but I
It
don't know
was-
if we want me to.
I believe TikTok was born. Remember, like a year or two ago, maybe it was more than that. After "Call Me Maybe" came out, and they had all the challenges with like cops singing "Call Me Maybe" and like
yes.
the different teams like that. TikTok is an app where it's 10 seconds to like 30 seconds long of people generally reenacting some sound clip from something. So
Okay.
lip syncing or doing like comedy sketches and
I
things
saw
like
something on
that.
Facebook the other day. From it, like in the bottom it said TikTok, and I was like, why did they use
It's a
TikTok?
very
that
entertaining
makes
app.
a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And that's hilarious. And now I have to go download it.
It's kind of like a combination of the old challenges and Vine.
Oh, okay.
So, but it's super popular
Okay.
and cool.
Okay.
It's pretty hilarious.
So podcast.
Podcasts. So podcasting is quickly becoming the most consumed media on the internet. Over 50% of households listen to podcasts on the regular. Consumption on average in the US is over 80%. So once you start listening, you generally finish listening.
I am just finishing a binge listen.
Yeah.
I think they have one more episode, and then I'm caught up.
There you go.
And then I'm going to be really sad.
But then more will come.
Yes.
You can listen to it on your
Time.
time,
In the car.
in the
Listen to it in
car, in the shower,
while I work.
because you don't have to have your phone next to you. It can play off your Alexa speaker, which
I
is...
do put the phone in the shower, but I like to live on the edge. So.
Hey, you know what? You're braver than I am, says the rock climber. So it's just becoming massive. And actually to advertise on a podcast is more expensive than advertising on the radio.
Oh, wow.
Because there's more listeners. So generally on the radio, you're looking at $15 to $20 per 1,000 listeners. Podcasts are $25 to $40.
Wow.
And it's one of those things that it's happening right now. This is not, it's going to happen down the road. This is, I always liken it to real estate. At one point, somebody bought Manhattan for $1.
Right.
We're past that, but now you're looking at like North Carolina for $1. So the ability to get in, create massive amounts of content, build your brand, have the continuity of people seeing you act the same in different situations over a long period of time is what creates brand and top of the funnel for your sales process. And that's why podcasts.
I love it.
It's just incredibly powerful, especially when you turn on video cameras.
I get asked why podcasts all the time.
Yeah.
And my answer is, well, Steven said I needed to, and there was no other CPAs doing this. And that's pretty much true still.
Yeah.
There's no a whole lot of CPAs in podcasts.
There's not. And I think that is a personality thing.
Yeah, it totally is a personality thing. And the push for me was that I'm not your typical CPA. I have a personality. I'm fun. I like to push people forward. Like, I like to interact with people. And you were like, you're awesome. Let's do this. Let's do a podcast.
Just like the post I made yesterday calling you out for all your greatness. I work with her every week.
Yeah.
Like,
we spent a lot of time together.
We spent a lot of time together. People have thought we were dating. We're married. But I've heard you talk about various situations and various people, and you're always curious about how you can help push them forward.
Yep. I do it to you. I do it for you all
do
the
it to
time.
me all the time, which is great because I'm a disorganized mess.
We all are.
I just know how to make it all look pretty.
Yeah, I do too. On the back end, I think most business owners are like that, though.
I think so, and I think that is a question of scaling.
Yes.
Because I'm very good at talking to people. Mm-hmm. I'm very good at being consistent on the basics of getting the camera set right, getting the composition right, getting the light right,
That's
getting
good
the audio
stuff.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the tiny little things. Mm-hmm. I do short films and like commercials and things like that where I get a little crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm very good at that. I'm terrible at sales. I need a sales guy. Mm-hmm. I want an editor because, and I do have an editor currently, but that frees up time for me to try and be a good sales guy to then solve that problem with growth.
Yeah.
So then I can continue to build the team.
Yeah.
So
processes and systems too. We're working on those.
Yes, we're working on those.
I make him a lot of checklists.
She does.
So, why do you think that podcasts are blowing up as a preferred medium to disseminate content?
That one's really easy, honestly. And it's just because you can listen wherever the hell you want. Like you were saying, in the shower, there's platforms like iTunes that are starting to really support it. Mm-hmm. So if you open up the Apple Podcast app, you'll have new and interesting. There's 16 podcasts in there every week.
Oh, wow.
So they're putting it front and center. Mm-hmm. So the model that podcasts are beginning to follow is the model that YouTube made 16 years ago. Mm-hmm. And by offering that support, as well as having the proliferation of content creators come to it. I mean, you've got YouTube stars that have got 10 million followers on YouTube. They're making however much they're making in AdSense, plus their brand deals, start podcasts because they know it's going to be what's next.
One of my favorite YouTubers just started a podcast.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing?
Which YouTuber?
But it makes sense, though.
It does.
Samantha Ravendal.
Okay.
You know, all the YouTube I watch is makeup YouTube.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And music videos. That's pretty much it. But yeah, she just started podcasts.
Oh, and MK, I can't remember his name, but he's a dude who does tech stuff. He just started one. Peter McKinnon is a photographer, YouTuber who just started one. It's the same move that you're seeing as YouTube became popular. And actual celebrities, the monotype of celebrity, were like, oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, I don't want to hop on Instagram. They became less relevant than YouTube stars in our society.
Yes, they did.
And now you've got Will Smith like, oh, crap. 10 years later, I need to start a YouTube channel. And he did. And he's blown up, but he's behind the curve. So it's just everybody switching, or not switching per se, but everybody's starting podcasts because of the ease of friction. It's as if you're a content creator, if you're a business and you're not telling your story, you should be. But your goal,
answer that question later.
your goal is not to funnel people to your website for you to make a sale. Your job is to make your story as easy to consume for the end consumer as possible.
And for people to get to know you.
Get to know you.
That's the
and
entire
they'll come
purpose.
find you.
Yeah, that's so awesome. So what do you see as the trends in video and audio production other than podcast growth?
So the biggest trends in video and audio production. Quality is going up.
Yes.
I have been the producer for podcasts that do solely Zoom, and I see them stuck. We, as creatures, are much more forgiving with visual things than audio things because we actually process audio first.
Okay, that makes
so
sense.
If you see a clap, you actually hear it before you see it. Your brain just lines it up.
Yeah.
So if we're watching a video, we can time everything up and we can squint, we can kind of figure it out. If we're just listening to something, because we're very audible creatures, if it doesn't sound good, nope. Next. It's why we have a certain volume level that we like to listen to, and that we like to speak at. It's just because we're very sensitive
To audio.
to audio. Our ears keep us on balance.
dude, my 11-year-old. He's like always little more turned up than I need to be. I'm like, please. I like, because that's what he needs to hear things that I think right now, because teenage brain and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I can't.
Yeah.
You're overloading me right now with your volume level.
And I want you to think about the circle of people that you've ever been around.
Yeah.
There's always those people that you just can't stand to hear them talk.
Because they're so loud.
Because they're so loud. Because something about, like, you have a personal issue with them, but you equate it to their voice. And then you can't stand to hear the sound of their voice.
One of my roommates in college, I love this story. One of my roommates in college literally had one of those voices that went through brick walls.
Oh, wow.
And so in my college at CSU, we had suites. So 2 people in one room, 2 people in the other room, and then we shared a bathroom. And there was a brick wall between the 2 suites. And I literally could hear her.
Oh, wow.
On the other side, just having a normal conversation. I mean,
yeah.
I loved her dearly, but we could I could listen to her conversations through the brick walls.
Yeah.
Because she just had this voice that just penetrated like all of it was just at that certain decibel level.
Yeah.
And not everybody probably could hear her through a brick wall.
Yeah.
But I could.
You were just attuned to it.
Yeah, it was attuned to her. So it was really interesting. Like, you're totally right. Different people have different voices. And I've turned off podcasts because of the audio.
Could have static. Maybe their voice is coming through a little too high or a little too deep for you.
Yeah, so audio is really important.
Audio is super important.
Yeah.
Going long form.
What does that mean?
So that means the length of time of the video, of the audio. If we're talking Facebook and LinkedIn, they're waiting videos over 3 minutes now. The idea of, I've only got 30 seconds to tell my whole story. No, you've got 5 to 10 seconds to catch them, and then people are actually going, okay, cool, I'll listen to you now. What you got?
That's
and
cool.
they'll watch the whole thing. So with our video clips that we cut, I try to aim for over 3 minutes because the algorithm is weighting it that way.
That's why they're so long. That makes sense. I'm like, why are these so long?
And it's not a guessing game. Like, everybody's like, oh, they change the algorithm all the time. They change it once to twice a year, and they let everybody know what happens.
They tell you what's going on.
This is what we're gonna do. Be ready for it.
So, full disclosure, I actually watch the clips more often than I watch the full producted. I mean, because I was here, right?
Yeah.
So, I watch the clips more than I actually listen. I don't listen to the podcast or watch the videos anymore because I have a friend doing the review for us.
Yeah.
But I do watch the clips. Those 3 to 5 minute clips, just because I think because you always pick out the good content, and it's always a good refresher for me too. So if somebody's like, "Hey, I really like that clip," I'm like,
What was that clip?
What did I say in said clip?
Yeah. So
somebody was like, I really liked what you had to say in that podcast clip. And I was like, which one?
And that's...
There's now 44 episodes and a proliferation of clips at this point. So.
And that's why it's so important to, like, we record for anywhere from 25 minutes to, I think our longest is like an hour and 20.
Yeah, I think that was Devin.
Yes. And it's so important to cut it up and then put it back out because, cool, I put out a YouTube video, guys. Go watch my YouTube video. Crickets. Because that's friction. You're telling somebody, hey, this is that. You can watch this, but not right here.
Yeah, you have to go over here.
You have to go over here. You have to click a button, which I know is so much effort, but that is a turnoff. When you look at CRMs and software production companies, they're looking to reduce the number of clicks that you have to do for anything and everything at all.
Thank you very much.
And that translates to absolutely everything, especially content consumption. So another major trend is, again, removing the friction. Don't be romantically attached to anything. Facebook could blow up tomorrow. Cool.
Yep,
I'll go to the next
place. Plenty of other places to do it.
Yeah. And you just make it as easy for them to consume your content as possible.
Yeah, and as you recycle the content, somebody new is potentially on my LinkedIn page or looking at my Facebook. Like, this person, because what you had just recycled had been the Q&A, I think, with Stephen Crawford. And I talk about what's happening in the accounting industry right now. And this particular person happens to care about what I have to say about that right now because I've been I've been requested to potentially be on a council for a software company.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't have seen that content if it hadn't have been recycled at that time. But it's just, I mean, kismet or whatever. But if we're constantly using all the content we have and putting it out there, different people are going to see different pieces of content.
At different times, hitting them in a different way because they're having a different day.
Yes.
You don't know what kind of day somebody's having.
Right.
And when you put out your content, they could be, I don't need this. Flip tables. I'm angry right now. My boss just said this, or my client just did this. Oh, I can't believe that. They're not in the mood to see it. What about a week from now?
Right.
When you post a little clip from it. Oh, hey.
That's interesting.
I really like Jamie. I like that gal.
Jamie's okay.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to just the human nature of it. We don't know what kind of day everybody's having. Like, you can have somebody cut you off. I disagree with cutting people off vehemently because it pisses me off.
Pet peeve.
But you don't know what kind of day they're having.
That's true. There's I'll consume different kinds of content on different days. Like, depending, like, what I'm doing or what I'm, thinking about or, like, what I'm wanting to do. I'll listen to podcasts while I'm working. And usually those are true crime podcasts because that's what I'm trying to binge right now.
And then going back to why podcasts.
Yeah, why podcasts? Thank you for bringing it back to the question.
I want to play on stereotypes. So, stereotypical CPA. Why should I start a podcast? Well, I convinced this CPA to start a podcast.
In one meeting.
In one meeting. You've been interviewed by a magazine.
Yep.
You're potentially being brought onto a council for a software company. They've got content that they might want you on. They might want to advertise on your content. You've met multimillionaire entrepreneurs that are doing big impacts in the world. And the list goes on about people you've met.
Done TED Talks.
People who've done TED Talks. If
$1 million dollar coaches.
if you didn't start building this platform, that might not have happened.
No, it's been so fun. People are like, and every time somebody asks me, I'm just like, it's really fun. Because I've got to meet some of the coolest people. And I continue to meet some of the coolest people. And it's only going to create opportunities.
And now that we've kind of found our stride.
Yeah.
And again, this is a long game.
Yeah.
Branding and marketing.
Podcast, long game.
Podcast, long game. Branding and marketing in general. Long game. If you want short term, go sales. Separate things. For the love of God. But
you can do both.
You can do both.
You can use this content for your sales.
And that's what it becomes. Like we've been talking about how we're going to redesign your website. And part of that is going to be now we've got all this content and we can place it in certain places and as seen on and da-da-da-da-da. And then that becomes, the marketing becomes a support for sales, which is what actually happens.
Yep.
I just had a rant on that. Sorry.
That's all right. I love it.
I really wanted to get that in.
It's just so important, I think, also to explain to people that podcasting is a long game.
Yes.
I was talking to Jason Torrey, whose podcast went up a couple weeks ago before we started rolling. Y'all didn't get to see that part. But also, go watch that podcast. I know it's on Zoom, but go physically watch that one. He is an amazing teacher of how people make really quick connections. So I'm not here to plug our podcast, but I think that was it was just it was a super great interview with Jason because he just is so extremely knowledgeable and he just gives away everything and he's amazing. So if you're listening to this one, go hop on that one. I know it's a Zoom one. I know like the Zoom ones don't do as well. We do our best on the audio on that one. Those people are some of the top people in their industries. So go listen to those ones.
Yes.
Just deal with the audio on it. We're working on the audio. What was I saying? Anyway, he used to have a podcast and we were talking about the long game on the podcast. And I didn't realize that the podcasting was a long game in the beginning until you're like, here's a year contract. And I was like, a year?
Wait, what?
Okay, let's do that. And you're like, this is a long game. Okay.
And now we're approaching a year.
Yeah.
We've got a bunch of credibility. We're on a tipping point.
It's so fun.
I've got things that I want to push you towards.
Yeah.
Like I want you to go start speaking.
I've got
and
things for you.
Go and fly, child. You're
just going to push me out of the nest, aren't you? That's all right. All of this has been pushing me out of the nest.
Good.
Okay. Back to your questions. What are the biggest obstacles people face in the podcasting industry, other than the long game?
Other than the long game. Let me field your question and go a little bit further back and just go marketing and content creation in general.
Okay, that's fine.
I think, God, there's so many. Okay. One, understanding the long game. Cool. Done. Back there. Number two, figuring out how to be themselves.
Oh, yeah. Authenticity is hard.
It's so easy, but so hard at the same time.
Simple, but not easy.
Simple, but not easy. And it's just, it's really mastering, and this is something that we were told to do as kids. It's mastering the ability to not care about all the noise going on around you, because you're worried about what your support group's going to think. You're worried about what this person's going to think or that person's going to say, or is that piece of content going to land right at this moment? And you have all this noise going on, and then you're like, okay, well, how do I make all these other people happy? Because I want people to like think I'm good and da 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 da. Just go be you. If you can shut out the noise and you go, no, I know what I'm doing and where I'm going. I'm going to go act that way. And then if it doesn't work out, cool. I tried.
Yeah.
What'd you do while you were talking shit?
So, and I always, anytime somebody comes on the podcast and asks me if they can have the questions up front, my answer is always no.
Yeah.
For two reasons. One, I prep 5 minutes before they arrive. I actually am really, really good at that. That's like
I add a little bit of pressure and good stuff comes out.
I've tried to prep before and it's just not as good.
Yeah,
it's just not as good because it's the questions I want to ask that day. So they're authentic questions too. And the second one is I want them to give me their authentic answers.
Yes.
I don't want them to think about it. I don't want them to ruminate on it. I don't want them to write notes about what they want to say. I want them to give us their authentic answers.
Yes.
Because authenticity is one of our big values around here. It's one of the things we strive to do with our clients, with everything.
Yeah.
Especially, with, being authentically us. They're showing up as us every day. So it's important that our guests do that too.
Yes. And it's one of those things, the big giant corporations are very good at faking authenticity because they can pay millions of dollars
for the front.
And what we do for thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Like, as an example, there's a big bank that got in trouble for doing things they shouldn't have been doing.
Wells Fargo.
But so they have a bunch of ads going on right now that are all puppies. Because who doesn't love puppies?
I actually saw one of those the other day and I was like, do you think we don't know what happened?
Yeah. So they can put up that front.
It's the PR machine.
Yeah, it's a giant PR machine.
I don't have a PR machine. I have this. This guy.
A one-man machine.
I have this guy and just me being as me as I possibly can with the cameras. No, I'm actually pretty good at being
You're very good at being you. I tend to not work with people who can't be them.
This just doesn't work.
It just doesn't work. Story time.
Story time.
So one of my clients, almost 2 years ago now, Big Jim, they brought me on because they loved our ideas. They loved our approach. They're like, we want to do all that. I'm like, cool. So we start doing some things and they're like, no, I don't want to do that. And I was like, well, that's cute. I have control. So I'm just going to prove to you through your own data that we really know what's going on and I will take you in the right direction and you can trust me.
This works.
This is, granted, it was a little forceful because they wouldn't budge. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I've got the cameras and I have the passwords. So we're going to do this and it's going to be the best stuff that you've ever done. And it was by tenfold. More people were paying attention. More people were coming in the door. More people were buying day passes. More people were signing up for memberships. More people were buying gear. There's $250,000 of sales in a 6-month period that weren't there for the previous years. And they still wouldn't budge. And I was like, guys,
People refuse to be wrong.
Yes. And I was like, I've proven, and I think that's partially what it was. I think I probably went too forceful because I proved their entire department wrong.
They were happy about that.
I think I might have hurt that relationship by being a little too forceful. But I was giving them a hell of a deal. But by being authentic, even if you're a giant corporation, you're going to win. Because at the end of the day, your customers are people.
And I think people can smell it.
Oh, for miles. Miles.
Sometimes it takes longer.
Sometimes it does.
I have to say that I'm not always the best at smelling it because I want to think the best of people a lot of the time. And I've done a lot of work on figuring out who I am, so I kind of like transfer that to other people and like kind of
project that
kind
out.
of assume that they have too almost. But then I start smelling it and I'm like, oh.
Oh, I see what this is.
All right, and now we're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I can't edit. Yours just stinks. So what have been some of your greatest successes in podcast production?
Greatest successes in podcast production. We have landed podcasts on the new and interesting list on iTunes.
Woohoo! That was so cool. It wasn't us, but it was very cool.
It wasn't us, but their data line went. I'm checking a monitor to make sure you can see me. But I went and then spiked way up, and then it came over, and then they got put on another list, and it spiked way up again.
That's amazing.
Another one is just being able to, not a podcast that I actually produced. I built the website and did all the back end for it. They cracked 1,000 downloads a day a few weeks ago. So it's just putting people in the position they need to be in to succeed. And being able to explain that it's the long game.
Yeah.
Like being able to do this consistently and
so how long did it take that podcast to crack 1,000 downloads?
3 months.
That's awesome. It's extremely niched, right?
Yeah, extremely niched. I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about. Extremely niched, but extremely popular.
Yeah.
And then just not a lot of people are doing it.
Yeah.
Again, North Carolina. For $1.
North Carolina. It's more than $1. Let's be 100%. So, what is your current focus for growth for Spotted Dog Media?
My current focus. So I've got 5 clients that I'm currently chasing. A vet or somebody within the veterinary space that cares about dogs and cats. Consultants, maybe.
We're working a couple of those right now.
A bar and grill or brewery. I have a wonderful YouTube show for them that then I also turned into a podcast because all a podcast is audio.
Audio of the video.
That's all it is. You make a video.
I'm waving at everybody right now.
Hi.
If you're on the audio, we're waving at you.
But that's all it is. It's just audio. It's not necessarily producing a show specifically to only ever be heard. It's just audio. And you can dress up the beginning and the end, and then boom, there you go.
Which happens on video too.
Yeah. It's just a new way. That's all that there is to it. So vet, bar and grill or brewery, an outdoor company. I'm a rock climber and an athlete, endurance athlete. So that kind of falls into my realm in the first place. And I get a little bit more creative with that stuff. And then who else? I had all these in my head.
You did.
And I've got a LinkedIn list that I've been messaging everybody on. That's sales. Get on LinkedIn, message people and be like, hey, I have a thing that I want you to buy. That is sales.
This is marketing.
This is marketing.
I'm really good at this piece
You are.
at this point.
Lots of people aren't. I feel like for me, this is the easier piece.
Yeah, I can talk to people all day long.
Yeah.
And then I go hide because we've talked many times about how I'm an introvert and then I need to go in my corner for a while. But yeah, it is what it is.
And then an automotive shop.
Okay.
There's huge room for automotive. I know of lots of automotive enthusiasts who have their own stuff going on, but none of the actual shows or actual shops, and they really need to get in on it.
So if you're in any of those industries,
Let me know.
yeah,
Happy to help you out.
and want to start a podcast,
Podcasts or YouTube shows or need help with your social marketing or any of that. We do it all.
yeah, and we're working on all of those for you right
Yeah.
now. All right. So before I ask my last question, what is the easiest way for people to find you?
Either our website, spotteddogdigital.com,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of D's in that, spotteddogdigital.com, or Stephen with a PH.
There's a lot of T's in that too.
There's a lot of, yes, there is. Yes.
D's and T's.
I just hear the D's. Or Stephen with a PH at spotteddogdigital.com.
Or on LinkedIn.
Or on LinkedIn,
Or you
Stephen
can head
Michael
us up
Andrews.
on the podcast and on the podcast website, and we'll get you to the right place.
Yep.
As always, everything's linked in the description box. We are really good about that. So if there's anything you guys are looking for, hit that description box. If you need something
Yep.
and you don't have it, send us an email or hit me up on LinkedIn or hit up the Facebook page or all the things.
If you have the Facebook page,
and
you'll
one of
probably
us will get back to you. Final question. So what is the one thing every business owner needs to do to build their brand?
The one thing.
The one thing.
I don't know.
do that thing and be like, can I have more than one?
Can I have more than one? That's what everybody asks.
I
Can
know
have
they
more
do.
than one?
And I'm always like, fine.
Start producing content. That can be video, that can be audio, that can be writing. What is the best way that you personally communicate?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a team
Mm-hmm.
and you're a larger scale business, you should be doing audio. You need to make or audio and video,
Mm-hmm.
make a marketing budget for that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a smaller shop, 1 person, 2 person, 3 person, and you're still handling your own marketing stuff,
Mm-hmm.
what's the best way that you communicate?
Mm-hmm.
Are you good on camera? Are you good just talking into a microphone?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you a really good writer? All 3 are consumed. They're consumed at different rates, but you have to start with what you're good at.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just be creating content, tell your story, be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be too bombastic unless you are bombastic. I was when I was 23 starting my first business,
I'm
and
not bombastic.
oh God, I was bad. I was bad. Like, this is like toned down. I was ridiculous.
This is about as,
This is where this is just your happy,
This
like,
is just me.
I'm just good, even
I'm good.
keeled.
Yeah, I'm pretty even keeled. I tend to be.
Yeah.
So I'm actually laughing because I was watching somebody the other day who does coaching for organic reach stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, just get on Facebook Live. She's like, don't care what you look like. That's my problem. I'm like, oh, have I done my makeup today? Which most days the answer is no, I have not. Do not look like this. Because I work from home.
Yeah.
In my pajamas. For a reason.
I'm generally in gym clothes, unless I'm out somewhere.
Or I'm in gym clothes.
Yeah. But, and that she's very right. Like, just start.
Mm-hmm.
For the love of God, start. Don't worry about doing the live and looking up in that corner and seeing a 0. It's going to get saved. People will watch it later. It's fine.
Yeah.
But just start working on finding your voice. It's a process.
It is a process.
Takes time.
And once you do, like after doing this, Facebook Live's nada. Like it's
not a thing.
It's
I
not a
bet
thing.
you communicate better too when you're actually talking with prospects or you're talking with clients.
Oh, totally.
I bet you've figured out how to actually say what you mean a little bit better than you did before.
Yeah.
And
I've spent a lot of time talking to a camera.
it takes longer than 90 days.
Oh, yeah.
Like, people are like, oh, well, I'll try this thing for 90 days. Okay, cool. Let me know how that goes. What have you ever done that you did for 90 days and then it was
Gave
a
you
gold
what you
mine?
needed,
Yeah, or
yeah.
gave you what you wanted. You have to spend time on it and you have to work on it.
No, it's just like weightlifting.
Yeah.
You can't just weightlift for like 30 days and be like, how come I don't have biceps?
Yeah. How come I don't have
Because you
biceps
only
yet?
bench 45 pounds still?
Yeah. Or how come
Which is fine, but that's not how this works.
I haven't lost 100 pounds? It's been 3 months. It takes time. And if you, speaking of somebody who has lost a lot of weight rapidly, you'll spring back
Yeah.
because you're doing it faster than your body can accommodate.
Unless it's medically.
Yeah.
Dr. Angela Tran will be on the podcast in just a couple weeks.
She
and
will. That's such a good
That's
episode.
how you do that.
Such a good episode. Go back like 2 episodes, 3 maybe.
Yeah. So she's what, 46?
Yes, I believe.
She's episode
46.
46 or
This is
47.
47.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we do rapid loss with the doctor.
Yes.
But
safely. Don't do it the way I did. That was bad.
It was bad.
I was going to university. I was like, I'm going to lose weight. I was like the fat kid in school and always got picked on, but I took other people's tests for them, like generic, like 90s video gamer, like smart kid. So I'm 21, going to university. I'm like, I'm going to lose weight. In 3 months, I lost 77 pounds. 3 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches a day and running 10 miles and doing push-ups.
At least it wasn't Subway sandwiches.
Oh, God, those are so bad. But don't lose weight that way. And don't approach marketing like that either. That's stupid.
No, can't approach anything like that. Everything's a long game.
Long game. Always play the long game, and good things will happen. You play the short game, and you're stuck in it.
Yes.
And then you're constantly in panic.
And then you're constantly looking for the next short game.
Mm-hmm.
That's really... The end there. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for listening. If you found this podcast to be inspiring, helpful, and entertaining, please like and subscribe. This helps us grow the community and reach more people. If you are interested in learning more about this episode's guest or accessing any of the books or other resources mentioned in this episode, be sure to check out the description box below. Until next time, be abundant.